Everyone, let's close our eyes. And let's come into our hearts. And ask ourselves, am I loving myself right now? Am I connected to that core self that enables me to feel compassion for whatever's going on in my life right now? It enables me to accept what is, even though it may be hard for me. And if I don't feel connected to that core self, let me just breathe and sink in. And allow myself to connect on a deeper level, to move through all of the thoughts and the judgments and the fears and all of the stuff that comes up that's swirling around. Let me just sink down through all of that by acknowledging it, but not holding on to it. Let me sink to a place inside where I feel safe, where I feel that I'm acceptable the way I am, in all of my imperfection, with all of my struggles. Let me hold my experience right now, gently. And with love and affection for myself. Let me be a friend to myself right now. Where is my compass? My compass cannot be outside of me. If I try to find my compass outside of me, I will be twisted and turned by all of the events that are swirling around. And all of the emotions that are coming up, not just for me, but for everyone. So I have to go deeper. I have to get to that place inside of me where I am connected to the love energy of the universe. And I know that that is ultimately what is real. We close our eyes because we're not looking outward, we're looking inward. And if fear comes up, we acknowledge it. We say, it's okay to be afraid. Let me hold the fear gently. Let me hold all of my experience gently. And not be distracted. When we come into the place of silence in the heart, we no longer even hear the noise of the world. Because we are in communion with something greater and more powerful than that. Let's breathe into that connection we have to the divine. Right now, let's be the bringer of love to our own experience. And know that whatever happens, we are okay. We are safe. We are loved. There will be times when fears arise and we identify with them. And we are thrown out of our hearts into the drama. That's okay. It's inevitable. None of us are in our hearts all the time. But our work and our spiritual practice is about staying in the heart. And in order to stay in the heart, we have to be aware of when we leave, when we identify with the fears and go into the drama, and we catch ourselves and gradually bring ourselves back to the heart. So you can open your eyes now. What I want to talk about this morning is uncertainty. I know each one of us is having our own unique experience of what's going on in the world, what's going on in our own consciousness. But I think that for the most part, I and everyone I know is experiencing some kind of uncertainty that we just don't really know what's coming around the corner. And I don't know that we ever did know, but probably there were times when we felt we had a structure in our lives and we had a way of processing what was happening where we felt okay being in the world. We had our way of coping with it, and it wasn't changing moment to moment. Or if it was, we weren't aware of it. Now, we are totally aware that we're not in control of what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes, or even in 1 minute. So the question is, how do we live with this uncertainty? How do we feel connected to the core self when there is no structure, no external structure that we can grasp onto? When we're dealing with constant change. You know, and today, as I was realizing that this is what I wanted to talk about, I thought of a concept that was first talked about. Maybe not first, but in recent human history. In the 19th century, the poet John Keats talked about negative capability. Now, John Keats was a great poet, but he was faced with living with tuberculosis, and he died at 25. But he was awake. And he understood that there was something about being able to be in uncertainty and to relax and to trust that was perhaps the most profound ability that any of us have. So he talked about negative capability, and the way he defined it is the capacity to be in uncertainty, to be with the mysteries, to be with doubts, without any reaching after reason or fact. So this is happening, and everything is stirred up, and we don't know why. And we're reaching to understand why, but there is no answer. We don't know. No one knows. We would like to find some experts to tell us, so we can prepare ourselves for what's going to come. But even the experts don't know. So at some point, maybe, we recognize that I can live in the eye of the storm. You know, the eye of the storm is quiet. The storm is raging all around it, but the eye is quiet. Maybe I can live in the center, in my heart, where I recognize that if I allow myself to be drawn into the drama that's going on around, all around me, I will become reactive, and I will become part of that storm, and I will get scared, and I will make all kinds of choices that are made in fear. And maybe I do that sometimes so that I get the lesson that it doesn't work. And then I begin to allow for the possibility that I can be in a loving place when everything around me is uncertain and unknowable. Really, when you ask yourself, there isn't anywhere else to go. We're either in the storm or we're in the eye of the storm. Now, to be in the eye means we have to come inside. We have to do what we just did. We have to come into the heart. We need to come into the silence. We need to feel the connection to love. That's what keeps us centered. And we know in our work, it's too much to expect. Perfection is too much to expect. We're not always going to be in our heart. So we do the next best thing, which is to simply recognize when we go out of the heart, when we go into the drama, and gently pull ourselves back. And that's our process while the storm rages around us. And I would submit to you that it would be no different even if we weren't in a worldwide epidemic. It's just that the worldwide pan-epidemic makes it so obvious that we don't know shit. We don't know shit. And there are no experts who can tell us. We're just here. That's it. What do we do with it? It's up to us. So, what a great time to do our practice. What a great time to center in the heart and connect to love. Is there a better time than this? Will there ever be a better time in your life or my life? I don't think so. And on the collective level, I think all of humanity is being asked to do this. You know, I firmly believe that when we're connected to love, our words and our actions reflect that connection. And so to the extent that we do something, it's not wound driven. When we speak, it's not driven by fear. So the connection to love is the most powerful thing that we all have to keep afloat in our own lives, and also to help everyone else move through this without panicking. When we're connected to love, we feel compassion for our own suffering and the suffering of every human being. Because that's what love does. Love connects us at the deepest level of our humanity. The way to love is not outside the heart, it's through the heart. It's through the silence. We see always in times of great challenge the best and the worst in human beings manifesting. The worst is simply whatever is motivated by fear that can't be held in a safe way. It's projected onto others. And the best is what's held compassionately. So even though the virus is deadly, it also brings a message with it. The message is very simple. Hold on to what's real, because everything else is going to go. Hold on to your center. That's all you have. So just close your eyes again and take it in and ask yourself, what does this mean for me right now in my life? Am I connected to love in my life right now? Am I able to use all the time and all the space to connect to my center. Or am I in the storm, fighting, trying to control, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to keep myself safe? And if I am in the storm and I'm growing weary and it's not working to fight, then I know the way back home. I know the way into my heart and out of my head. As John Keats said, there are no answers out there. There's no way we're going to figure it out. And when we recognize this profound fact that we're never going to figure it out and we're never going to be in control, what happens is one of the magnificent epiphanies on the spiritual path, we become humble. We submit to life and we become humble. We understand that there are things that are happening and we don't know why. It's okay. We don't have to know why. Our choice is a very simple one. We either resist or we submit. You know, you can't fight the virus. If you fight the virus will win. The virus is like any other thing that's so huge, like a great storm. You can't fight it. Those who fight it, those who deny it, suffer the greatest toll. When you're humble, you respect nature. Nature is powerful, more powerful than human beings. When you respect nature, you can experience the beauty that's there, but also you can experience how small you are in the total scheme of things. You are just a speck in the cosmos. You are not all that important. I don't say you, I say me, I say all of us. We are not all that important. And what is unique about us? It's great, but it's not as important as what we all have in common, which is our shared humanity. The ways in which we are the same, not the ways in which we are different. When you come into the heart, you know that. You know you share a brotherhood and a sisterhood with every being on the planet. You are no more important and no less important. All of our human drama arises from the desire, the womb-driven desire to be more important, which derives from the feeling that we are not as important. If we feel unworthy, our whole life is run by the desire to prove our worthiness. And yet we are just a speck in the cosmos. What a strange thing to engage in, trying to prove your worthiness. This is a psychological drama. It's useless. John Keats, he was 25 years old. He understood this. He was ready to face his death, knowing he had no control. But knowing he could be in this state of uncertainty and still love himself, still feel connected. I was listening to a 60 Minutes program a couple weeks ago. And it's actually a program I had seen before, but I watched it again. It was about research that was being done into psilocybin, LSD. And they were giving it to people under controlled circumstances. And they had a lot of support. They had people holding their hand, helping them to get into a nice meditative state before they did it. And some people had unbelievable ecstatic experiences. And other people had the most horrible nightmares, worse than anything they've ever experienced in their lives. But you know what? Even the ones who had the horrible experiences came to the same conclusion. And you know what they discovered? Only love is real. Only love is real. Some people, they had wonderful hallucinations and they saw bright colors and all these great things. Other people went through hell. They saw demons. Every fear they had materialized in front of them. They went through the dark night of the soul. But even those people came out the other side. And when they came out the other side, they recognized everything they had gone through was just an experience of their own fear. When they came into the light, they knew only the light is real. Sometimes you have to go through that dark tunnel to know that only the light is real. So our choice is either to resist, to get drawn into the drama, or to submit to whatever's happening and know that we can find a safe space to experience it all. That safe space, you can call it the space of the witness, whatever you like to call it, it doesn't matter, but it's a place where you know you are still connected, no matter what's happening. So that's what I'd like you all to think about as we move into the next segment, is how this is working in your life. Where are you at? And, you know, in our work, we just let it all hang out. We don't pretend to be spiritual. Because being spiritual is not about wearing a mask. It's about telling the truth and being honest about what hurts and where the struggle is. We're not attached to the struggle. We're not attached to the pain. We're not making a story out of it and hanging on to it and letting it define us. No. But we're not in denial of our pain either. The pain is there. We have to acknowledge it. We have to say it hurts. We have to say I'm afraid. We have to say I'm struggling here. I'm having a hard time. And know that all human beings have a hard time. All human beings are challenged. And yes, your pain is not that different from my pain. So we can support each other in walking through that to the other side.